What is going on, Colts Nation? He is Jamal, and I am Eric, your co-host of the Colts Cast.
Yo,
The 2025 NFL Draft is less than 2 weeks away, and I would have to say, look, let's be honest here, Jamal. Chris Ballard is certainly on the hot seat, is he not?
no. Nah, my man. He ain't quite there yet. He was at the
On the
end
hot
of the
seat.
season. It got a little warm for him, but he made 2 moves, gained himself a couple years with those moves, and
Bro is in the hot tub right now. Look, it's do or die. It is. Okay, maybe it's not. But for this episode, it's a do or die, playoffs or bust in Anthony Richardson's third season. So we asked the question, how do the Indianapolis Colts maximize Anthony Richardson's third year through the NFL draft? Let's talk about it, Jamal. Where would you like to start?
Before we actually talk about that, I just got to ask you, man. Speaking of Ballard and kind of this hot seat and do or die for him, how do you feel about him dropping Matt Gay, or us releasing Matt Gay? After what, it was a 4-year deal, and we let him go 2 years after that.
Worst kicker contract ever. Let's move on. I mean, you had to cut him, right?
I don't
He
know, man.
missed
He was doing fine. He was doing a
Yo,
little groin injury. He was still doing good.
30 to 49 yards out. My man was clean. Like it go upright, straight through the middle. As soon as that thing said 50 plus, cooked.
Seeing stars out there.
Hooked, yeah. And I'm just like, bro, like you make a lot of money for a kicker and you're gonna miss every 50 plus yard. No, yeah, get out of here. I mean, accountability. It's kind of happening. It's not really happening, but it's kind of happening. And now maybe Spencer Schrader is about to get a shot, but
yeah.
The moral of the story is don't sign a kicker for a lot of money.
Back to the regular schedule program.
So Anthony Richardson's third year. We got Daniel Jones coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Ehlinger's gone, but it's a really unique situation, I would have to say, because like, how far is this team away from contending?
Like, for what? A starting quarterback or a Super Bowl?
A Super Bowl contending. How far is this team away from contention? It looks like from your response, it's probably, I would say,
long ways away.
Yeah, probably a long ways away. But, we're not at that stage where we're like, all right, it's time to fully rebuild, maybe retool, add some key pieces.
We've been retooling for 9 years, dog. Like, at what point, your tool still ain't working? You need to buy a new set. You need to get a new set. Cobalt ain't working. You better go DeWalt now. I don't know.
He's trying to get the Milwaukee's. I would say, Charvarius Ward, Cam Bynum. I mean, even Daniel Jones edition. So he's adding some new tools to the table. But I think, he's got to win now, right?
Yeah, he's got to. He doesn't have a choice but to win. I don't know what it's going to take. I mean, obviously, it can be done. A lot of it can be done in the draft. But it's just too hard to read this team's signs. I mean, obviously, everything is just so private and kept out of the open. It's hard to understand what the true problem is. I have an inclination of what the true problem is, and I think everybody in Colts Nation and who listens to the Colts Cast knows what that inclination is. But besides that small little tidbit I had, I don't know what the other problems are. I don't know whether it's Richardson with his current regime, his current quarterback room, the previous quarterback room. I don't know what it is. I don't know. So Eric, I want you to tell me how can this draft potentially maximize his career for us?
Yeah,
or his development year.
Right, and I would say, I think you have to lean offense in the first few rounds here. Maybe not entirely, but I just think you have to help Anthony Richardson out. I still think he's the starter by a long shot. I truly believe Daniel Jones is not the week 1 starter, but you got to put some pressure on this man to perform. And you need a draft hit. Whether it's the first, second, third, you need a immediate draft hit, like a Quentin Nelson. You need a Quentin Nelson draft hit this year. You need a Darius Leonard. You need a Jonathan Taylor. You need somebody like that. You can't go into this year and we get another Malik Hooker, another Kwity Paye, another Jelani Woods. I'm not saying those players are bad by any means, although we could argue one of them is that the best ability is availability. Anyway, I'm
Mhm.
just you need a day one impact player, Jamal, and that's why Shamar Stewart, you know most athletic edge guy probably ever, like, ever. I think his raw score is a 10, but, like, no production in college, so that scares me a little. That makes me think he's a Trayvon Walker kinda guy who's gonna take a while to reach his ceiling. Walker, I think, is a great player now, but, the rookie season, Aiden Hutchinson outshined him. Second year, Hutchinson probably still outshined him, but it's just like there's obviously some development challenges for the Colts. As we can see, we've drafted a lot of defensive linemen. Latu didn't have that year one incredible impact. Quiddy Pay. I mean, I just think even edge is. I would say edge is probably a need. Would you agree?
Yeah, without question.
But is it a top priority? I'm not sure. It
Mm,
depends if you wanna mirror the Philadelphia Eagles and try to get the best defensive line ever and disrupt Patrick Mahomes, but I don't like following Super Bowl, championship teams. I just think we need to develop our own identity. Um, I think you have to, Jamal, like tight end has to be taken the first 3 rounds. Just has to.
has to. Has to.
I well, what do you do at tight end then?
I don't know. I really don't know at tight end at this point. I mean, again, like I said a couple episodes ago, I truly think at this point, if we do take tight end this year, and it still doesn't pan out, then we have to evaluate what's going on at the coaching level, because at that point, and that's truly the issue. Because there's no real reason in my opinion, why we should have 7 tight ends in a room and not one of them can fully functionally do their job. Like that's just accountability not being held across the board for somebody, clearly for not the players either. But there's not being accountability held for other people too, because it just doesn't make sense. And I'm not saying that every team has a Travis Kelsey, a George Kittle, or anything like that, but majority of teams, they have that, that player who can get out there and make something shake for them. We're not going to have a Laporta out there, but throughout the 7 people we
I'd
have on
like
our
to.
team, I would
I'd
love
like
to.
to have
I would, yeah. Oh,
Florida.
I would. But if we can't figure out how to have one of those guys be on the field all the time and doing their job well roundedly, then I don't know. I don't know if the issue is just with the individual player themselves. It's weird. It's weird, but I do agree. I think we have to go tight end first round, just for the sake of life of making sure that we give this one last hurrah of saying, if we can put a potentially elite player in that role, could they elevate this thing for us?
Could they? I would say, yeah. I mean, this tight end class is looking good, pretty deep, but I would say the
Mhm.
clear cut 2 at the top, 1A, 1B, would be Loveland and Warren. However you want to put them there. If you get one of those guys on this team, I think it's an automatic upgrade, and you help Anthony Richardson out in his 3rd year. Like we talked about in our mock draft, Jamal Loveland, all around great player, can play in line. So you get the blocking tight end. You also get a great guy in the passing game. Tyler Warren, amazing with the ball in his hands. Just a wrecking ball, can really, like, you give him the ball on 3rd down, he's getting that first down conversion. But I would say, like, that's how you do it. You could also probably go offensive line here. Um, I I know, Jamal, you'd be happy about that offensive line in the
Yeah.
first round. I would be content with it. I mean, I think protecting the quarterback, whether it is Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones, whoever, I think giving him more time to operate in the pocket and process his reads, things like that. It's always a win, right? Offensive line is arguably the most important position group in the NFL, and if you have a really good offensive line, your life as a quarterback is so much easier, especially with a young guy like Richardson. It'll just help out. So we have a hole in the guard position, right guard specifically. Maybe you target someone like Tyler Booker, even though like Tyler Booker didn't have really a great combine, but if you really like him, take your guy. You're just gonna need a day one impact player, like someone that needs to start right away. You can't draft like a Blake Freeland type of guy,
Yeah.
in the first round here, because you have to win now. If you're Chris Ballard, you have to win now. You have to perform. AFC South title should be on your mind. That should be the only goal this year.
Fully agree, and I think that's why this draft is going to be such an integral thing for him, because he, like you, I mean, everything you're saying is exactly what I want to say. Is that he has to understand, which I know he knows this. He's not dumb. He knows his job is on the line. He has to have immediate impact, and I think that's something where he's not used to having to worry about that, because he's like, well, this person, we're gonna have time to develop because we got the people in the building we need to do, but that's no longer the case. So I don't know if this is gonna completely shift his draft process, but I feel like even for this offseason, we saw in free agency with getting Bynum and then getting Ward, he quickly realized, okay, I have to get immediate impact players throughout free agency. So how do you get these impact players throughout the draft? I think that's where it's really going to get a little spicy for us. We're not going to have that last year of Latu, where we're saying we got the best, pass rusher in the draft. We're going to be like, yo, we got to get somebody who's legit going to come out there and make that impact. So you bring up a very good point with that. So it's so hard to truly know where his head is for this draft, but I do agree with what you're saying. Attack the offensive side of the ball for the first two. Show that, hey, our end goal is success for Richardson. Our end goal is at least AFC South. You can call it the softest division, whatever the case, doesn't matter. Like we know, you win the AFC South, you win a ticket to the playoffs, and then you move on from there. So that's what matters. You get a ticket to the dance, it don't matter. Even if you're a 32 seed, or 16 seed, excuse me, in the Sweet Six, or in the and the March Madness, you get an opportunity to beat out the best. So it can happen. So I definitely think that this is going to be just the offensive focus for the first two, because that's the only way to get better. We've made some pieces in the offseason to get the defense better. So now we get the offense better. So
I think that's the route you probably go. I mean, I wouldn't hate the idea of drafting someone like Jahad Campbell.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really a Swiss Army knife on defense. Like edge, if one of the great edge guys drop, I guess, like, if he's the best player on the board, you kind of have to at this point. You could probably make an argument that a better defense would help this offense out, but really, to me, offense is the name of the game here. You're trying to maximize your young quarterback while he's on this rookie contract, while you're still trying to figure things out. Get somebody who is going to help him immediately, and I think that's how you do it. Like probably don't draft Ashton Genty if he's still there. But then again, like Genty and Jonathan Taylor, would it be Sonic and Knuckles like the Lions running back?
Yeah, we gotta say we see that with the Lions. I mean, they're different. I know it's tough.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
Yeah,
but
that would be.
From a positional value, you already have your starting running back. He's signed to a decent contract. You probably don't take that player. But it would that would be hilarious if we did that. I just think that that's how you do it through the draft. You got to get your positions of need down, but you also, I mean, if there's a best player available that you got to take, you do it. But your goal should be the AFC South title, nothing less. I mean, if you squeeze into the wild card, you better win that game. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. You better
be a hell of a win, not a squeak by.
Especially for this fan base who has the highest home attendance of any NFL team last season. You better do it. Because fans were mad last season. At the end of last season, they were calling for Ballard's head. They might have the pitchforks and torches out there if it happens.
They won't go that far. They'll be upset, but they'll just deal with it.
Yeah. But I would love one of the tight ends in the first round. Jamal, I don't know who you really like in the first round, but I think there's a lot of content picks I would like here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm completely fine with one of the tight ends the first round, just because, again, I think that's just one more piece, and I think that one of these, and it's someone fresh in the room, because there's something going on in the room. I mean, I literally talked about this all last year, even leading into the draft with the wide receivers over the past couple of years, the wide receivers and so on and so forth. There's something in the room that's not right. Do I think that just Golston or Tyler can come in and change that dynamic? Absolutely. I don't know how much of it it'll change, but it'll change. It'll definitely change the dynamic. So you have to get a player like that in there. And again, that's going to help benefit this offense because while I am always going to be worried about the defense, I have to understand, or we all have to understand that like I knew no matter what changes would have come last year, even still having Gus back there, I didn't expect much out of it, So with Lou coming in now, I want to give him the opportunity to do his thing. His first year there, let him work his magic. So I'm not too terribly focused on the defense because I need to see what Lou's going to do. Meanwhile, I am worried about the offense because we've seen the same stagnant offense for the past couple of years. So why not go and add that extra piece in there to now elevate it just another level?
But even just playing the other hand, like if you have an elite defense, like your quarterback doesn't really need to. Like
Yeah.
you don't get in those negative game scripts. You can be a game manager,
Yeah.
focus on not making mistakes, which Richardson has had trouble with doing. You just you play a good running game,
Yep.
and you make a throw every few downs, and you eat away that clock. You control the pace of the game when you have a stout defense that can really shut down the opposing offense. So there is an argument on both sides, but like you said, Jamal, I think offense is the name of the game here. And you can probably, I just think from a value standpoint, you get an upgrade at tight end versus maybe an upgrade at linebacker. One's higher than the other. But I'm here for any of that conversation. I'd love
Yeah.
to be humbled there. So
Absolutely. Only a week and a half away, man. I'm ready. I'm ready to see what goes on. It'll be hopefully we get a little more excitement, coming in the next couple of days. Obviously, I know nothing won't leak or anything like that. But just as we build up, just it's nice to just read different articles about what we got going on.
you don't think we'll get that Will Levis smoke like we did a few years ago, where it was like Colts are about to throw the bag at Will Levis at number 4?
Dude,
You don't think so?
man, nah, not this time around. I've been surprised there hasn't been more smoke behind the whole Tyler Warren situation. It's
Mm.
I think a lot of people are just kind of lost at what's going on right now in this org because for one, obviously it's impossible to predict what Ballard's gonna. Well, in the past he's been unpredictable. This year I feel like he has to be much more predictable just because of where we stand. But again at the same time I really don't know.
I was going to say last year was very unpredictable. I don't think
Yeah.
anyone saw Latu getting picked there at
No, there were 31 GMs who didn't see that.
no, yeah, but it's yet to be seen if that was the best pick. But I will say they kept that secret, so
Yeah.
we'll kind of see what happens this year, see if we get any noise coming out of the camp, but I haven't heard anything yet. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we will.
Well, let us know what you think, Colts Nation. That's going to be it for us, everyone. Thank you for listening to the Colts Cast. We are live on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or any platform you use to listen to podcasts, and we'll be back next time to give you some more Indianapolis Colts content. Y'all take care.